Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Kamala Harris has an interview coming up. We're talking about that. That's going to be on Fox News right after the James Show is over. Last night, we had the one and only Texas debate that we're going to get between Texas Senator Ted Cruz and Texas Congressman Colin Allred. 800-288-9227 if you have comments on either one of those. My next guest, though, someone who, of all the people we have in this giant issue of immigration, we should be talking to the legal immigrant crowd far more than we do. And this is what she does. They're an immigration firm, Renata Castro. Welcome back to the James Show. I don't know if you got to see the debate last night, but it's the same argument that's being had at the federal level. You know, what's being done about the border. Your thoughts?
I think that the real question that should be asked to the candidates yesterday is why both the House and the Senate just refuse, and, you know, we had members of both entities yesterday debating, why they refuse to pass bills that will once and for all reform our immigration system in a way that favors America and makes immigration finally something of this century and not of the last. So we're making this an ideological debate, but no one is really asking tough questions of the candidates. How do you plan to effectively, and dare I even say immediately, solve the issue in a way that is pragmatic, that is effective, and that works for the United States? And quite honestly, I haven't seen anyone address that question intelligently in any of the races I have been following so far.
Well, and it's also been interesting to see that the claim is being made, and I think maybe rightfully so, that right now the big flow of illegal immigration across the southern border has slowed somewhat, which gives me a little bit of optimism. Number one, we know it can be done. But number two, we know it can really be done under either administration if there's just enough public pressure to do so.
We are seeing a worldwide movement towards securing borders just because now there's a lot more access to travel and to information. So States has a very peculiar issue with our southern border, and, you know, for Texans, that's a matter of concern. But for the first time in history, we have seen a spike in crossings from Canada into the United States, but somehow that's never discussed. The reason why I'm highlighting this, it just goes to show that the American immigration system is broken for far more reasons than just the border. The United States has remained competitive because we attract the best and the brightest, and that includes people who really just want to work, and we need those people. We need them to come in vetted. We need them to come here legally. We need them to come here fast. Employers need that, but somehow, you know, Washington just refuses to address what has kept the United States economically alive for so long. And I will say this. Most Americans don't understand the American immigration system until they marry an immigrant or until they want to hire an immigrant. And then they realize how daunting, complex, and expensive the American immigration system is, and quite morose. So it's about time that we reform it, not only because we want to keep everybody out, because that's not good for the economy. We want to find a controlled, safe, and effective way to get the right people in.
Did you use the word morose? Well done. Renata Castro, how do they find you outside of WBAP? Tell them about your firm, USA for All.
USA for All helps both employers who are looking to hire immigrants legally and those who want to come or remain in the United States. We assist individuals and corporations throughout the United States. You can find more information on our practice at USA4all.com.
And she means like real foreigners, not just people from like Oklahoma. Thank you very much, Renata Castro. I appreciate you being on the James Show again. All right, George in Fort Worth, you're going to be next up. But if you want to be after George, your thoughts. What's going on with the debate that happened last night? What could happen with the Kamala Harris interview on Fox News coming up right after the James Show? It's all the same phone number, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. This is the James Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We're 20 days away from Election Day 2024, and we're just in a ping pong going back and forth between what's happening in one of the important Senate elections, Ted Cruz versus Colin Allred. They had their one and only debate last night. It was on our news partner WFAA, but you also heard it here on WBAP if you were a good person. But this is just... what are we, 2 hours away, maybe an hour and a half away? Kamala Harris is about to start recording an interview with Fox News. They're going to record it at 4 o'clock our time, and it's going to be played back on Brett Baer's show at 5 o'clock. And what's that special report? So it airs at 6 o'clock their time, and so I'm just trying to translate it in my head if I sound all stumbly. And so this is an interesting situation. She has not had an interview from anything other than a friendly source, and I don't think Fox News is going to be openly hostile, but I expect her to be challenged like you've never seen her be challenged before. What would you like to see happen? George in Fort Worth, if you want to be after George, 800-288-9227. What do you think is about to happen, George?
Well, I think that somebody should hold Kamala Harris's feet to the fire and ask her, when she was the Border Czar, why did she let over 20 million illegal aliens come across our border? Most of them are welfare seekers. I encountered many of them in parking lots, and they don't want food. They want money. And I heard that the ones in Venezuela and some of the other countries, they are actually renting their homes and apartments and coming here to get a free life over here.
All right, that sounded. Right. I hear something personal there, George. When you say you come across them, what, in the park? Is that what you said?
In parking lots and stores.
Oh, parking lots.
Many in Kroger, in Walmart, at Target. They're at Winco. They're begging for money. I said, well, if you're hungry, I'll buy you a burger. There's no. We want money. Just give us money. No, I'm not going to give you money. Why do you want money? This is ridiculous. And also to that last lady, our immigration system is not broken. We are letting over 2 million people a year on visas and permanent residency and, immigrate to this country. That's not broken immigration. If anything, it's broken the other way. We need to start closing our borders. During the golden age of immigration, do you know how many people we let in this country during the European golden age of immigration?
Oh yeah, the Ellis Island. The Ellis Island statistics are pretty small compared to what we just accidentally let in over the last 4 years. Sure.
And they're worried. They're making me buy a toilet that has 1.4 gallons per flush, putting shower heads that you could barely take a shower with, and conserving. You can't even water your grass more than one day a week. This is all because of overpopulation. They said, I believe Tucker Carlson said, once we had 500 million people in this country, game over. You might as well forget the ecology, forget about green anything, because it's going to be gone. And we're right now, probably 380 million people, I would imagine, probably close to 400 million.
George,
and we cannot sustain this.
These are the things I think about when my paper straw is halfway dissolved in my drink at the bar.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think about. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you calling in. He's fired up. He should be fired up. When we talk about the things that are, a drain on our system, a drain on our economy, if you want to know why our public schools are having such big problems, why our public hospitals are having such big problems, why our social programs are so overweighted, a lot of that you can just point at the border and be like, fix that and see what happens. Good call, George. Appreciate that. 800-288-9227 if you want to be next. 800-288-9227. And that's one of the topics I'm talking about that is huge in the presidential election, also huge in the Texas Senate election. And that's an issue that over this weekend that came up with J.D. Vance on the weekend shows, talking to Martha Raddatz. And we've got him now to admitting that, okay, it's only a handful of apartments that have been taken over by Venezuelan gangs. Other than that,
though, Trump said the city had been invaded and conquered by Venezuelan gangs. The Republican mayor of the city said flatly the city and state have not been taken over or invaded or occupied by migrant gangs. So do you support Donald Trump making those claims that the Republican mayor says were grossly exaggerated and have hurt the city's identity and sense of safety? I understand what you're saying, that some people left behind, but he's making these statements that the mayor is flat out disputing.
Well, Martha, you just said the mayor said they were exaggerated.
Grossly exaggerated.
That means there's got to be some element of truth here. And of course, President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground. And what we're hearing, of course, Martha, is that people are terrified by what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers.
Yeah, come on now. There's still some apartment complexes in Aurora that haven't been taken over. So what do you mean they conquered the city? They haven't conquered every single building. It's just a handful of apartment complexes, not a handful of apartments. A handful of apartment complexes. That's not a problem to you, Martha? That's cool. Just dudes from Venezuela coming in here doing all that. Not a problem. Fascinating. All right, I got some calls lined up here. 800-288-9227 if you have any hot opinions on that. And I bet you do. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in concert is coming to Will Rogers Auditorium Wednesday, October 30th. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. You can listen to the WBAP morning show all week. They're going to be giving away tickets. And I think I still owe you another keyword for the Motley Crue contest, the trip to Vegas before the James show's over. So stick around for that. It's 20 days until the election. And, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to remind you, I'm at the State Fair, Texas State Fair on Friday for one last time because this is the final weekend. Come see me out there live. But if you want to call in, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I'm just reading the comments coming in. Apparently some people have some opinions about Kamala Harris's interview on Fox News. If you're just hearing about it for the first time, it just started. Well, the recording for it just started. They're recording it now. He says he has a half-hour time. They're going to replay it right as The James Show's over. So do not turn it. Don't turn it. I just want to hear your opinions on it. 800-288-9227. Because we just got done digesting what happened in the one and only Texas Senate debate from last night that was on WFAA and WBAP. We had it live here as well. At the same time, it's pretty much the same issues. We're just going to repackage them and throw them at Kamala Harris, who's doing her first interview from a non-sympathetic platform. 800-288-9227. Chris in Mesquite, you're on WBAP. What do you want to see her ask tonight?
Well, she's just going to deny being the border czar. So that's when you turn around and ask her, okay, well, then who's in charge of it and why are they still unemployed?
Do you think she can deny the border czar charge?
She's been denying it all the time.
Yeah, I guess so. Huh. You think it's going to work, though?
I mean, if you're a manager of a company and you've got a worker that's not doing their job, you're going to get rid of them.
Well, for those of you who are not as aware as me and Chris and Mesquite, listen.
Meantime, Vice President and Border Czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the Border Czar by President Biden.
President Biden tapped.
All right, so Chris, if I have a montage of her being called the Border Czar over and over, and she says this on Fox, you don't think she's concerned about running the risk of as soon as she gets off, they do a commercial break and come back for the panel to discuss it, that they're going to play one of their montages?
It's very possibly. But, you're going to get her in a line no matter what on it.
I like it. Thank you very much, Chris. Good stuff. Let's do Russ in Fort Worth. Oh, no, wait. Howard's been waiting a long time, and he's from Bug Tussle. So, Howard from Bug Tussle, you're on the James Show on WBAP. What say you, sir?
Not that long. I'm not optimistic that Brett's going to hold her feet to the fire, but my question is, why are they pre-recording this interview and playing it later?
So I heard Brett Baer, I believe it was on Fox and Friends yesterday, explaining that he reached out to the Kamala Harris. He reached out to both campaigns, and Kamala Harris's campaign was interested in doing an interview, and he said, well, what fits in your schedule? And they said, well, we can record at 5 o'clock, and this is Eastern time. We can record at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. He's like, well, my show's at 6. And they're like, okay, well, can you record it and play it back? And he says, only if I'm gonna record the whole thing and I'm gonna play it back just in one big chunk unedited. And they're like, well, how would you do that with like the commercials and stuff? He's like, I'll work it out with my managers. We'll jettison the commercials. So I think that's what we're about to see here in the next hour.
All right, thank you.
I know that's not a very satisfying answer. You couldn't do it. You couldn't squeeze it in live. Really? Oh, what a coincidence, huh, Howard?
Yeah. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir. All right. Now, I do have time for Russ. Russ in Fort Worth, I appreciate you letting Howard cut. You're on WBAP. What do you think?
Well, I know Brett's going to ask for this, but since half of all the jobs that have been created have been government jobs, I want Brett to ask her what she's going to do to increase private sector jobs, and what she's going to do to reduce the government jobs. And I mean, besides having all the Border Patrol quit if she's elected.
Right. But besides getting rid of those, no one has an answer for that. This is something I found, of course, disappointing for Democrats, but Republicans have been incredibly disappointing at cutting federal jobs. When you look at the size of government, it's more than doubled in the last 24 years since the year 2000, last time we balanced the budget. But why is our budget more than doubled? Why has the number of bureaucrats and people who are in the government more than doubled in the last 24 years? Our population hasn't doubled. Our land mass, our territory hasn't doubled. And, and Republicans were in charge for a big chunk of that, too.
I know. And I'm so frustrated because I'm 65. Government has never gotten smaller in my lifetime. All it's ever done is gotten bigger. At least the former President Trump has said that maybe he would give Elon Musk a chance to propose some cost cutting and employee cutting measures. And so I haven't heard anybody really say that in my lifetime. All we've done is get bigger.
Well, you've heard other people say that they're going to cut government. You heard Barack Obama say he was going to cut government. He said at numerous times over debates and town halls that he was going to go line by line through the government, cutting the programs that don't work and making sure the ones that we keep run more efficiently. And he said he was proposing a net spending cut. Everyone lies about it. No one gives a damn once they get in power, though. And go ahead.
Maybe the former president will actually do something on it.
Bro, we couldn't even get Obamacare repealed. We couldn't even get Obamacare repealed last time. I mean, I am so pessimistic, even cynical about the growth of government ever being curtailed that I'm almost a lost cause on that front.
But I am too. But we got to have some hope about something. I'm going to vote for the guy. I'm going to vote for President Trump. I voted for him twice before. And even though what I said before he was elected the first time was government's just going to get bigger.
I hear you. You know what? It's okay to be cynical as long as we're right? Right? Thank
you very much.
You're not a grumpy old man if it's true. All right. Coming up next, you're going to hear from a guy actually in the RNC. Tommy Pigott is going to be back on the James Show to give his thoughts on this interview that's coming up in real time in about 50 minutes. They're going to start playing it on Fox News. You don't have to turn off WBAP. I'll watch it for you. I'll record it. I'll play the highlights on tomorrow's show if there is any highlights, and you'll hear it right here. If you have any comments, 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. We are 20 days away from the election on the James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.